I'm Helen Barefoot from the University of Hertfordshire. I'm going to ask colleagues from Hertfordshire also to introduce themselves. So, Kim, let's come to you.
Hi, my name's Kim Shran. Yeah, I'm a senior lecturer in social work.
Thanks, Kim. Maria?
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Dimitriadi. I am a reader in molecular genetics at the University of Hertfordshire, and I'm also co-chairing the Network Women Plus Professors.
Thanks, Maria. Sarah?
Ciao, everybody. Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm a Professor of Experiential Learning, and I work in our Central Centre for Education and Student Success.
Sarah? I just wanted to say as well, we've heard the news about a big typhoon that's been passing over Philippines and then up into Vietnam. So we just hope people are safe and well, and that their homes and families are also safe, and people are managing in that difficult circumstance. So I hope everybody is coping okay. Today we're going to be talking about mentoring. It's part of our wider project that I'll speak about in a moment. But in this session, we're going to discuss how to set up a mentoring scheme, to consider the benefits of being mentored, and to consider the benefits of being a mentor. Now, we're going to use Mentimeter that some of you may have used if you've been on one of these workshops before. So please, can you take your mobile phone and use the QR code, or go to www.mentee.com, and then it'll ask you for a code, and that code is 88949485. You can either do it directly with the QR code with your phone, or you can go, if you're on a desktop or a tablet and want to join through mentee.com, it'll then ask you for your code. And we'll use Mentimeter as a way to get some audience participation as well. So we're going to ask your opinions and experiences about mentoring. So it'd be great if people can join. I can see I've got 10 people have joined already. I'll just wait a moment more as people log in. We like Mentimeter in the university. We use it quite a lot within our teaching. It has a number of ways that people can engage. They can do multiple choice questions. They can do short answer questions. We can capture thoughts in a word cloud. So it's a really nice tool for students to share their thoughts and opinions. And we use it quite a lot within our teaching, and particularly when we're in large groups. We use it when we're online, but also in the classroom as well. Okay, I can see I've got 12 people joined. Again, the code will be at the top of every slide. So if people do want to join as we go through, you can just go to mentee.com and use that code 88949485. Just before we formally start about mentoring, let me just remind people about the project. So this is a British Council funded project, a collaborative project to address women's underrepresentation in leadership. We aim to empower female staff and students to increase women's representation in leadership roles and cultivate supportive academic environments through collaborative efforts. So this is a partnership between the University of Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom, Ho Chi Minh City University of Technology, Dong Thap Community College, and Dong A University. And as many of you know, Sarah and I came out to visit and ran some face-to-face workshops at Ho Chi Minh, Dong Thap and Dong A. Through the project, we've got our massive open online course, the MOOC. We're aiming to have 1,000 participants enrolled. We're well on the way to that, but please do enroll if you haven't done so already. I'm sure Angie will pop the link to the MOOC in the chat if she can. We also have been running workshops. So as I mentioned, we did face-to-face workshops in our Vietnamese partner institutions. And then also we hope to help you establish a female scientist network. And part of the presentation today for Maria, and I think Lisa's joined as well, we'll talk about how they've set up a network about mentoring them for professorship, but also does have a lot of scientists within it. So to think about how you might consider setting up a network in Vietnam. And also we hope to reach people through a social media campaign. So as you know, we've got the MOOC, but also we're running a monthly workshop And we've been running them since April. We're now on the 11th of November, the mentoring workshop. Our next one in December is the 11th of December, which is called Leadership in Action. Then in February, we'll talk about career development. And then our last one will be in March and about evaluating your own learning, reflecting on what you think about your leadership, and also planning your next steps for leadership. So let's focus on mentoring first of all. So I got a Mentee question for you. You should be able to type in some thoughts here. So what is mentoring? Please use Mentimeter. You'll see it on your phone or on your computer screen. What do you think mentoring is? So give me a nice short definition of mentoring. As the thoughts come in. And people will be typing in. If you want to type in Vietnamese, please do. I can ask Kim or Angie to help translate for me. So don't worry about typing in English if you'd rather type in Vietnamese. Nice to see people's thoughts coming in. Wait a couple of minutes more as people are typing. Just wait a minute more. Got any other thoughts, please pop them in. Yeah, let's have a look. So helping others grab opportunities to grow. I think that's a really useful word, isn't it? To grow, to help people to think about their own development and their own growth. If you're being mentored, you're learning from a more experienced colleague, absolutely. This is an interesting one to help students in interesting subjects. So that might be when we're thinking about sort of mentoring conversations with our students. If we're a personal tutor or a tutor to a student, how we might use a mentoring conversation to help them. Advice on professional development, mental development, and exploring opportunities, absolutely. Lots within that, but certainly about that professional development and opportunities for them. Might be involved in advice giving, yes. An experienced person in a specific industry giving advice, instruction to a mentee. Yes, we see that. Someone with experience giving that support to perhaps someone inexperienced in a new role. Personalised advising, I like that personalised nature of it, understanding what the mentee needs and what their development aspirations are, and personalising that support and advice. An experienced and trusted advisor, definitely support a specific audience to have a clearer view in their choice of a certain directional field. I think that's really interesting, isn't it? To help them see through some of the other opportunities or distractions, to have a really clear view of where they want to get to. Mentoring is a professional relationship in which a more experienced or knowledgeable person, see if I can scroll down my page, let's have a look at this one, provides guidance, support and advice to a less experienced person. Absolutely. We can see that again, that sort of difference between the experienced and the inexperienced mentee. So let's have a look at some of the definitions that we might come across. So this is from the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, suggesting that mentoring is a learning relationship involving the sharing of skills, knowledge and expertise between a mentor and mentee through developmental conversations, experience sharing and role modelling. The relationship may cover a wide variety of contexts and it is an inclusive two-way partnership for mutual learning that values differences. And I think that last bit, the two-way partnership, is really important. It is about the relationship between the mentee and the mentor, but it's also about mutual learning. So Sarah will speak about her learning of being a mentor, as well as Kim talking about what she's learned from being mentored by someone else. So let's just get a sense of how many people in our group today have been mentored. So this is a multiple choice question within Mentimeter. Have you been mentored? Yes, you've had formal mentoring. Yes, but it's been informal mentoring. No, you've never been mentored, or you don't know. Maybe you think you might have been, but not really sure. You can see the votes coming in. I'll just wait a moment more if others are voting. So I've had 6 people out of the 15 who are on Mentimeter. You should have your choices. Just wait another moment. And we can see that the majority of people have actually experienced some informal mentoring. So have had good conversations, spoken with perhaps a more experienced colleague, had some regular catch-ups, discussed about career opportunities perhaps. Only one person has formal mentoring and one person has had no mentoring at all. Good. So nice to see the range of experiences we've got within the room. So my next question, have you been a mentor to someone else? And again, yes, you've been a formal mentor. Yes, you've been an informal mentor. No, you've never mentored anybody, or you don't know. And I'll just wait as more people vote. If people who've just been joining us do want to join Mentimeter, they can join via the mentee.com, www.mentee.com, and use the code 88949485. It will enable you to join the Mentimeter, follow the slides through, and also vote on the interactive slides. Great. So we've got some people who've been an informal mentor and some people who haven't been a mentor at all, but nobody who's been a formal mentor and nobody who doesn't know. And again, that's really useful because we'll talk about formal mentoring and we'll talk about formal mentoring schemes and what that looks like, but also we'll perhaps pick up on some of those informal mentoring conversations that we take place throughout our roles. So talking about a formal mentoring scheme, I'm going to hand over to Maria. Lisa's also on the call as well, but I know she's got to go and teach. So Maria, I'm going to hand over to you. Maria's going to speak to us about how they set up the Network of Women Plus Professors mentoring scheme at the University of Hertfordshire. Maria, I'll move your slides if you just give me a nod when you want me to.
That's excellent. Thank you so much, Lisa. And Helen, I'm so sorry. So thank you so much, Sarah and Helen, for inviting us on this workshop today. So hello, everyone, and good afternoon over there. So my name is Maria Dimitriadi. As I said previously, I'm a reader in molecular genetics at our University of Hertfordshire, and I'm also co-chairing the Network of Women Plus Professors. with Dr. Lisa Leon. So how did everything start? So the Network of Women Plus Professors, it's a staff network across our university and was established back in 2019 by Professor Grace Liz Maffei. Currently, since 2021, I've been sharing this network with Lisa, and it's been an exciting opportunity because it takes me completely out of our comfort zone, being bioscientists, both of us, trying to find out how a staff network works across the university. And trust me, we can learn many things working with different teams. And definitely when our voice can be heard through our staff network, which is great. So what is exactly about this network? Why is it special and what do we do? Helen, is there any way we can make this a little bit bigger on our screen, larger, the slide?
No,
yeah.
I don't think so. I've got mine on a separate.
Okay, don't worry.
Manage.
That's absolutely fine. So the network of Women Plus Professors. So how is different our network from the other networks? So first of all, when we identify that a woman has been promoted through a promotional round, or they join the university as a reader, as a professor, or emerita professors, we invite them to our network. So basically, our network is composed of women or women plus that identify themselves as readers or associate professor or professors, and they've been promoted through different routes, whether this is research or learning and teaching or enterprise entrepreneurship. So currently, we have 89 members across the university, and we basically help across different disciplines, in the sense of we support Athena Swan. And for those of you who don't know, Athena Swan is a gender equality framework that used across higher education to improve, gender representation, career progression, and work environments for all staff. Our women also participate in the Aurora program, which is basically a leadership program across the UK that aims to inspire and guide women specifically to achieve their career goals in the higher education through a combination of individual work or group learning or mentoring and networking. One of the most important things, and what our network is we can say well known about, is because back in 2021 we established our own mentoring scheme. And if you're probably also aware that there is nowadays a lot of evidence to suggest that higher education settings and mentoring can build capacity and nurture a pipeline of talent. Helen, can we go to the next slide, please? So what is special about our mentoring scheme? Back in 2021, Professor Liz Grace Maffei has suggested that we need to initiate something completely new. And of course, one of these things was the mentoring scheme, but we had a lot of different types of mentoring schemes across the university. So when you are given such a task, the first thing that we did with Lisa was to find out what kind of mentoring schemes exist across the university and how our mentoring scheme was going to be different across our institution. So we met with different teams across the university to find out what kind of mentoring schemes they had, how it works for them, and what things we need to take into consideration when it comes to, barriers and obstacles moving forward. So then we came up with our mentoring scheme. So our mentoring scheme is special for two things. First of all, because it's a scheme that only supports women or women plus across the university, specifically women that aspire to become readers, associate professors, or professors. And that will help us basically to contribute towards the university's KPI to increase the representation of women in higher levels, yes, and above. Another special thing about our network scheme, and that's different from the other staff networks, mentoring schemes that exist across the university, is the fact that we do not pair a mentor with a mentee. So in our case, what we do is we ask our mentee actually to choose from a list of mentors that we have available, because we believe this is going to be much better for the relationship to move forward. Sometimes you might find the idea that you're being paired with someone else. And from our experience, even though you think this might work, it might not work, long term for different reasons. And sometimes women are reluctant to say, I'm not happy with this mentor. Can I please change that? So that's why I think our mentoring scheme is quite special, because we give the opportunity to our mentees from the list of the mentors we have, which is more than 80 women, to choose their own mentor that fits, their cup of tea. And that makes everything, the start of this mentoring relationship much more fruitful. How does everything start? In order to be able for us to set up this mentoring scheme, of course, we need to identify which women are happy to participate. And of course, this is down to a voluntary basis. So then we generated a PDF file that, as you can see here at the bottom of your list, where we ask the women that want to contribute to put their name, their job title, whether they're readers, associate professors or professors, and which routes they're specifically, they're working on, whether this is research, whether it's learning and teaching, or whether it's enterprise and entrepreneurship. And then we asked them to write a 400 summary on their expertise. What are they known for? What does a potential mentee need to know about them? We also asked them to let us know if they have any current mentees that are being mentoring. And of course, they do the work capacity, because sometimes some women, they might say, for example, to myself and Lisa, that we are happy to help this academic year, but next year we are, we've got a number of mentees already on our plate. So we need to, understand, of course, that their workload is quite heavy, and we need to make sure we support our mentors as well. So after gathering all this information, it takes quite a lot of time to do that, but it's been great because all our women have been very supportive of our scheme. We generate this beautiful PDF file, which is quite, more than 30 pages long. And so what is important to remember here is that our network offers nationally and internationally recognized colleagues who have demonstrated success in their field of endeavor and can offer individual mentoring support to people who identify as women plus at the university. So the mentee will choose a mentor by themselves, and then let's move forward and see how we take the next steps to initiate that. Helen, can I have please the next slide? So how does the scheme actually work? So after we gather all the information that we need from the women who want to participate in the mentoring scheme from our network, how does the scheme work and how do we put it into actually practice? So we ask the mentee, first of all, to express an interest by emailing us directly at our internal email address, which is nwp@hertz.ac.uk. Then when they express an interest, the next step is us. We're sending the mentoring list that I just described previously that encompasses more than 80 academic women. They're willing to participate and become their mentors. So what we ask the mentee is to contact them directly when they identify the mentor they're interested in, and to tell them exactly, that sentence. Basically, I've contacted you as part of the Network Women Plus Professor Mentoring Scheme, and that's unique, to our strategy. So then we expect the mentee to reply back and say, yes, I'm happy to take you on, or I'm quite, busy. Please, try to identify someone else from the list. But normally, this is very rarely will happen. So when the mentor and the mentee can arrange, when the group has been set, then they let us know by email again, and then we send them a second list of information. So we have a specific goal. So we tell them that we want you to arrange up to 3 meetings in a given time and agree on a specific goal. Of course, this can take up to a year or 2 years, but in order to be able to tell that your scheme has been successful, you need to make sure that you touch base every 6 months to monitor the progress. So when I know the mentor and the mentee pairs, every 6 months, I approach them by email, asking them how they are, where everything is going smoothly, and whether they need any further support from us. When they finish the 3 sessions, then I am aware of this, and Lisa, and then we send them an online evaluation form, and we ask them, both the mentor and the mentee, to fill in that form so that we can capture feedback. Now, another important thing is, if you try to set up a new mentoring scheme, is how can you let people know that you exist? How can people know that this mentoring scheme is actually available at the university? So what we do is we work a lot with different teams across the university. For example, we advertise what we do at our internal websites, which is called Thap. We work with a equality, diversity, and inclusion team. We advertise ourselves through our internal newsletters, through different staff networks. Yes, we also advertise ourselves through the Women's Rights Conference that takes place every year. We also are invited to different promotional workshops that take place on an annual basis before the promotional round. And we also speak to our senior champions, because every staff network has a senior champion from the leadership team, and we also ask them to advocate for us. I also have here a short video that that the University of Hertfordshire has helped us generate. Of course, we don't need to play it now, but please feel free to visit the link and find out a little bit more about mentoring scheme and how we can use that video to basically advertise ourselves across the university. So next slide, please. Now, one of the things that you need to think about when you're setting a new network scheme is, what kind of barriers do I need to take into consideration, and how can I achieve success? So the two things that I would like to share with you is, first of all, there is a lot of administrative work when you try to set up a new mentoring scheme, and it's actually absolutely fine, and you expect that. That's why it's been great, working with Lisa as well, because we can share our responsibilities and we can always support each other and moving forward. So there's a lot of administrative work. If you think about it, every 6 months you need to contact the mentor and mentees pair, try to find out how they are, whether they need any further support, measuring the progress, making sure the evaluation forms have been filled in, and everything has been captured across the line, so as to make so that we can have a successful mentoring scheme that's been established. Another, so I think, yes, these are the two important points, is making sure you touch base and that the feedback form has been filled in to move forward. Next slide, please, Helen. Now, how can we evaluate the impact of our initiative? How do we know that what we've initiated, it actually works and people are happy with this? And how can we improve that? So Lisa has actually generated, and she was quite expert in looking at the Microsoft feedback online forms. And we have an online Microsoft feedback form has been formed. And when we know that the pair have been happy and they finished their 3 sessions, we send them that form using a link. So that link has actually 5 questions that is sent both to mentors and mentees. And these questions are: question number 1, what aspects of your NW+P mentoring partnership worked well? What aspects of your mentoring partnership do not work well? Because we do want to know if something did not work. How was the network of Women Plus Professor mentoring partnership impacted on your career development? Depending on your role, for example, will you continue to offer future mentoring if you have been a mentor? Have you applied for a promotion? What was the overall goal of using our mentoring scheme for your targets? How can we strengthen our mentoring partnership moving forward? And do you have any quotes for us, any testimonials? Because we'd like to use that for future promotions rounds for our mentoring scheme. So these are the questions. So we can go to the next slide, please. Here I've got a couple of testimonials that we have gathered throughout the years. I'm not going to read everything in detail, but I just want to say that we've been very, very happy with the feedback we're receiving. Just to give you an example, one of our mentors, mentees suggested it's a great resource, and I strongly recommend mentoring, with NW+P. Other people have said, other women have said, really felt encouraged and inspired. So that's, that makes us really, really happy, because we've got people that feel they've been supported. Another mentee suggested that it has helped them with their promotional application. And I think last but not least, we've been really excited when we heard that I've never had such a clear advice before given from our mentoring scheme. And so these are just small things that boost our confidence that what we've done is actually working really, really well. Next slide, please. Okay, so now what's the impact of our mentoring scheme? What have we achieved throughout the years? Just to give you an example, so every year we've got a promotional round across the university where people can submit an application for a promotion to a reader, to associate professor or professor. So more than 50% of women back in 2024 that have been promoted to a reader or associate professor, they've been mentored by our members. So that's great. Another important aspect is we have submitted a mentoring scheme case study using the Concordant Platform of Practice back in 2020. And in case of you who don't know what the Concordant Platform of Practice is, this is basically a framework that supports the career development of researchers across the UK. So if you click on that, if we use that link and get more information, you can see exactly what we do, how we set everything up, and how we capture feedback and what things we suggest people need to take care of when they try to set up their own schemes across the institution. Another important aspect is the Athena Swan Civil Award that our university received last year. Again, for Athena Swan, as I said previously, this is something we support across our network, and it's a gender equality framework that is used across higher education to improve gender representation, career progression, and working environments for all staff, not just women. But we were asked to submit a case study, again, specifically about our mentoring scheme. And it's been great to receive feedback that said that our mentoring scheme was one of the ways that integrate gender equality in its strategy. And then how do we show good practice? So if you remember before, a few years ago, I actually spoke to all the people who have set up mentoring schemes across the university to find out what they do and how they can support us into creating a new mentoring scheme. So nowadays, it's been great to see that people are now coming back to us to ask, about our knowledge and expertise and how we can help them. So currently, there's been a new mentoring scheme that is going to be launched for our School of Health and Medicine and Life Sciences. And they've come back to us to find out information for this. There's been recently a new network that has been formed and is known as Black Women Research Collective for 2025-2026. So we met with the leaders from that group because we're trying to enhance our research culture at the university. And we try to inform them about who we are and how we can support Black women in their research careers at the University of Hertfordshire. And of course, we also support Aurora Women. And Aurora, again, is a leadership program that aims to inspire and guide women to achieve their career goals in higher education. And this is, again, they know that we exist and they come back to us for our mentoring support. Next slide, please. Now, we've been quite lucky in this university because we've had a number of different mentoring schemes. And of course, our mentoring scheme is quite special because we specifically support women and we specifically ask our mentees to choose their own mentors directly. However, you might be in an academic institution where there's no mentoring scheme available. So what we advise you to do is you can use our own practice to actually help women and set up your own mentoring scheme. Or if you cannot at this point, how can you seek a mentor with no formal mentoring scheme that available is at your university? So what we suggest is, first of all, you can use informal mentoring. So you can clarify, first of all, in your brain, what do you actually want to achieve out of this mentoring? What kind of mentors do you want to identify? And then contact the mentor that you want by email. So initiate sort of an initial connection, be clear about what you want to achieve, and use that in a respectful way because you understand, it's down to on a volunteer basis. And of course, be flexible and professional because not everyone can be there to support you when you need it. So plan in advance and contact them informally. So having said that, I'd like to stop here and I'll be happy to take your questions or we use that for the end, Helen, whatever it's easier.
Thank you so much, Maria. That was so useful. And thank you for sharing the experience of setting up the network. Let us pause there for questions. So if anyone's got any specific questions for Maria, I think Lisa's had to go to her teaching. But if there are any questions for Maria, either we welcome people to switch on their microphones. And again, if you want to speak in Vietnamese, I could ask Kim or Angie to kindly help translate for us. Or if not, please put a question in the chat as well. There are multiple ways if you want to ask Maria anything. So again, I'll just pause for a moment in case people want to formulate a question. Not see anything coming in. I will take this opportunity to say that I really enjoy being a mentor on the programme, Maria. I enjoy that aspect of it as well, and have mentored a number of people through the process. And it is, as Sarah will speak about later, it is very rewarding being a mentor. And it's really nice when people want to ask your advice and support through the Network of Women Plus professorship scheme.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you so much, Sarah, and everyone else who support our scheme moving forward.
All right, I can't see any questions coming in, but please do, if anyone has a question that comes to them in a little while, pop it in the chat, and then we'll come back to Maria towards the end and pick up if there are any other thoughts or comments. So at this point then, I'm going to hand over to Kim. Kim is going to share experience and benefits of being mentored, as well as some specific experiences from her professional career. Kim, I'm going to hand over to you.
Hi. Thanks a lot, Helen, and also thanks, Maria, for setting up and leading, and also with Lisa as well for leading that mentorship scheme that I actually myself benefited a lot from. Yeah, so that's why today I'm here just to share, how I experienced, that mentorship scheme through the Network of Women Plus Professor. Can I have the next slide? Thank you. Yeah. So firstly, I just wanted to, because I'm Vietnamese as well, so that's why I just wanted to talk and share about my journey, how I ended up being here at the moment. So I think it may be relevant to a lot of Vietnamese colleagues, because you may want to look at how, I came over here and also how I progressed to where I am now. So you can see that I was born and raised in Vietnam. I first studied economics at the Foreign Trade University in Hanoi. And I came to the UK in 2002 to do a master's degree in human resource management. After graduating, I worked as a human resource manager within the National Health Services. It was stable and meaningful work, but something inside me felt unfulfilled. I kind of wanted to be part of people's life in a more direct way, to make a difference where it is, important to me. So that's really led me to retrain as a social worker. I think that this is maybe not really familiar in Vietnam about social work. So social work is a strictly regulated profession in the UK. So if you want to become a social worker, you will need to have a bachelor or master degree in social work, and you must be registered with Social Work England. So I qualified in 2011, and I spent the next decade working in child safeguarding with specialism in parental mental health, both with local government and the UK family court. In England, child safeguarding is a system of laws, services, and practices designed to protect children from harm, abuse, or neglect. So social workers like us have a duty to work with healthcare professionals, teachers, and the police to ensure that children grow up in a safe and supportive environment. So as a child safeguarding social worker, I work directly with family to assess risks, provide support, and make sure children's needs are met safely. And also in my role as an independent court advisor, I give, kind of advice through statement and report to family court about how parental mental health may affect parenting and children's well-being. And this is to help the court make informed decisions in the best interest of the child. In 2022, I was awarded a doctoral research grant by National Institute for Health and Care Research to study further mental health and safeguarding practice. Later that year, I joined the University of Hertfordshire as a senior lecturer in social work. So it could be seen as a kind of unconventional move in the UK, stepping into academia without a PhD. But this is not unusual in the University of Hertfordshire, where it values practitioner expertise and real-world experience. And this is to also help our students gain practical knowledge during study and secure employment quickly afterward. So within a year at the university, I took on a role as a program lead. And in this role, I oversee the design, delivery, and quality of postgraduate courses, including a master's degree and 3 accredited courses. I support academic staff and students to ensure the curriculum meets professional and regulatory standards. And I also lead a few initiatives to enhance teaching, learning, and student experience. I also monitor program performance, coordinate assessment, and contribute to sharing, strategic planning and research project within the department. Can I have the next slide, please? And why is the network of women professor mentorships? So as you see that I entered academia with extensive professional experience in child safeguarding and unique expertise in as an independent court advisor in parental mental health. However, I felt as through I was starting all over again. This is kind of new journey for me to navigate kind of very unfamiliar system, adapting to a different cultures, and I have to discover new ways of working. But within the first 2 years, I gradually kind of found my footing and kind of grown confidence, both as a senior lecturer teaching across master and bachelor degree, and also as a program lead overseeing several postgraduate courses. And I also achieved my first publication in 2024, which is quite meaningful for me. And I also started leading, an internal research project. But however, at that 2 years point, I also realized that I needed more than just hard work and passions. I needed kind of clarity. I wanted to understand where I was heading, what kind of academic I wanted to become, and how to make career more kind of, impactful. I just wanted to move, from doing things well to doing things, with clear purpose and with clear directions. So that's when I knew I needed guidance to help to me shape, the next stage of my journey. So that's when I reached out to the Network of Women Plus Professor. So my goal at that time was to learn from women who had successfully transitioned from professional practice into academia, women who had not only progressed in their career, but also to make a meaningful impact within their areas of expertise and beyond. So with the guidance of Lisa and Maria, I joined the mentorship scheme and I was provided a list of potential mentors. I chose one in particular, a woman whose professional journey kind of mirrored my own aspirations. She also came from a practice background in pharmacy. She advanced to become an associate professor while undertaking PhD study. And she had led significant initiative in teaching and student support in the university. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, so you can see that, as a status of my academic and professional journey, I short mentorships that was, for me, kind of both reflective and also to be strategic as well. I feel that I need some kind of guidance from someone experienced in higher education leadership who could help me navigate the complexity of teaching, research, and also leaderships, and while also supporting my personal growth and confidence. So that's why I was looking for a mentor who could offer both practical advice and encouragement and help me to make sense of challenges and to help me explore new opportunity and plan a meaningful pathway for my career. I have been really, really fortunate, that my mentor generously shared her own journey. She transitioned from, practice in pharmacy to academia, and then she became an associate professor. And in conversation with me, in helping me, she revealed the, kind of often invisible processes behind academic advancements. And then she also shared with me about understanding from how university assess application for senior fellowship, for example, or professor promotion. And also she helped me to recognize, some kind of subtle cultural norms that shape what contribution may be valued. So together we reviewed my academic profile, my achievement in teaching, leadership, and research engagement, for example. And she also helped me map them against the competency and kind of expectation, of my university. So this process to me highlighted, gaps and also opportunity, what I have, already achieved, what evidence I could better articulate, and what developmental step would, kind of help me to position me for the next stage. And the conversation between us became, a really structured, form of reflective dialogue. It prompted me, to examine, both my practice and ambitions. And very important is that the mentorship helped me kind of shift from reactive to kind of more strategic mindset, rather than seeing career progression as the, accumulation of achievement. I began now to view it as a purposeful alignment between my personal value, institutional priorities, and kind of, broader sector expectation. My mentor encouraged me to define career, kind of, very clear timelines for milestones. For example, how, when to complete my PhD, expanding my research output, for example, or leading some kind of, pedagogical, innovations that align with the university's strategic aims. So for me, mentorship within the network of Women Plus Professor became more than just career guidance. It really offered me a critical space for professional sense-making. It really enables me to translate my strengths, capability, and expertise into something more sustainable and more kind of, clearer academic route. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, so this is, the impact of mentorship. I've been with these mentors for 7-8 months now. I met my mentor twice over the last 8 months, but we have exchanged email in between, and the impact to me has been profound. Those conversations with my mentor have significantly influenced how I now think, plan, and act in my academic career. So since engaging in the mentorship, I have continued to build on my strengths and interests with a clearer sense of directions. For example, my engagement with the scholarship of teaching and learning has now, get enhanced through participation in an international collaborative project on academic development. My international student project, which began as one of initiative, has now evolved into an ongoing program of activities that continue to grow. I have also launched a new community of practice, research-informed practice education in social work. This is to bring together educators, researchers, and practitioners to bridge practice education and research evidence. And I'm also hoping to publish 2 articles in academic development shortly. Through this activity with my mentors, and also these activities that following that, I have been realizing my strength, expanding my professional network, and enhancing both my teaching and research profile. And most importantly, I have developed a stronger sense of academic identity and belonging, which provide foundation for my continued growth. So these ongoing development are helping me to build a stronger profile in research and leaderships. And this is a key element, in my longer term academic progressions. So looking back, the progress I have made in less than a year feel really substantial to me. Yet it has not been a result of luck or coincidence, but carried intentional engagement. So I managed to set up a clearer vision, create a plan, and I can also align my action with purpose. To be honest, previously I tended to do a lot of things purely out of passions, but now while my passion's still there, but mentoring has taught me to align this passion with purpose. it connects my, what excites me, at the beginning now with my career goals and my institution, priorities. So this kind of integration has reshaped how I define academic success. It is no longer about doing more, but about doing what is more strategic, meaningful, and more sustainable. Yeah, so this experience reflects, really a kind of developmental mentoring to me, where the mentor facilitate a shift in the mentee's frame of reference from reactive to reflective, from kind of fragmented activity to more kind of coherent direction, if you like. This process has enabled me to reconstruct my kind of professional identity as well. So before, I kind of thinking, myself as a practitioner who happened to be in academia, but now I feel that, I feel confident that I'm an academic who drawn strengths and insight from professional practice. Yet my journey is still unfolding, but I'm no longer, kind of navigating blindly as before. I now have a clear focus and defined goals, and I felt that, my confidence has grown, and my career can remain grounded in collaboration, innovation, and more, kind of purposeful as well. So I think that the Network Women Plus Professor Mentorship has not only supported my professional development, but it has really empowered me to kind of reimagine my pathway as a female academic. So I feel that it's a lot of changes over the past 8 months. Can I have the next slide? Yeah, so here it's just some tips, for me to get the most from mentorships. Firstly, I think that it should be clear about, your purpose and why do you want a mentor. So before entering a mentoring relationship, I think that you need to take time to reflect on what you hope to achieve. Is it about to build confidence in your current role? Is it about to explore new direction or to prepare for promotion? Or to just strengthen your sense of belonging and identity, within academia? So make sure that, clarity is your key, because clarity helps both you and your mentor focus on conversation productively. Secondly, choose a mentor who resonates with you. Look for someone whose journey, value, or achievement align with your kind of aspirations. The best mentoring relationship are built on kind of, connection, just to me. So when you feel you can relate to your mentor's story, challenges, and growth, that's when you feel you benefit from them. Thirdly, that you should use a space honestly and reflectively. Mentorship is not about pleasing your mentor. It's about learning from dialogue. Be open and honest about your ambition and challenges, and also listen to your mentor attentively, and reflect on the insight that they share with you, and think about what may apply to you, what may not apply at all. And lastly, and also very importantly, the act. Reflection is powerful, but action, will bring you change. So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, to make some kind of bold moves, or to test new idea. Mentorship will only become, learning or developmental when you translate, these reflection into your purposeful actions. Yeah, so that's next slide. So I'm not sure if I should stop for some questions about my experience of the Women Plus Professor Mentorship Scheme, or I move on to the next one.
Shall we just pause there a moment, Kim? I mean, it's absolutely wonderful to see that reflection, and so positive to see the influence that those conversations have had on your thinking, your strategic planning, rather than being reactive. I think it's so good to hear you speak about it in that way. And those tips at the end, really, really excellent for people thinking about what they can get out of being mentored. So if anyone's got any questions for Kim, again, if you want to switch on a microphone, you can ask Kim in Vietnamese. If you want to pop in the chat, if there are any questions. Similarly, if anyone's had another question that's come up for Maria, please do pop that in the chat as well, or raise a hand. And
anyone would like to ask me in Vietnamese, I'm happy to answer in Vietnamese as well. So you may feel more comfortable that way.
It's always great to have Kim
Yeah,
on board.
hi everybody. I had 2 questions. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing with us. And I had one question for Kim and one question for others. And this is I'm interested in this program, but from my side, there's something I want to learn more about you. So question 1, as you are sharing, so do you think the cultural and the gender biases make it difficult for women to reach leadership positions? Question 2, why are women still underrepresented in leadership roles despite many gender equality programs?
Thank you very much. They're so useful questions. So the first, shall we attempt the second one first? Is sort of why have we still got underrepresentation? I think if we look at the data, we see that. We see that picture is improving. Those gender equality programs have been in place probably not more than 30 years, really, on a serious nature. And so change does take a long time, particularly at the highest levels. And we see within businesses and within higher education institutions that it does take a long time for change to occur. I think what we are seeing within our institution is absolutely a shift within our senior executive team. 5 out of the 7 members of that senior executive team are women. So that really has changed recently for us within our university. I think we're seeing more women coming through mentoring schemes, coming through projects like Aurora, where people are having, just as Kim has said, having a more strategic understanding of where they want to go. And I think maybe it's a generalization, but I think men have perhaps been more clear about that with career pathways from early on, whereas a lot of women have come into roles and then have taken a career break for families, for example, and then have not come back in with that strategic direction. And so mentoring and conversations and leadership programs are helping people having a more strategic ambition and a strategic career progression. Kim, do you want to come in there as well?
Yeah, I like to share, a little bit like from different perspective because, at the moment, my research in paternal mental health, like a father mental health in child safeguarding, and I did some research about, why there is existing gender bias in the society, and actually, if you look back back to a long time ago, like so I go further back to the 17th century or 18th century. So it's kind of, men's always considered as a breadwinner and women stay at home to look after children. And you think that, the society over the last 300-400 years have changed, but actually that still remain quite really strongly in the current, in many culture, in many society, and especially within work environments, that men still dominant. And men and that culture, that belief, that value is not just, in Vietnam even stronger, but in the UK, in many, many Western countries, in many modern countries, it still remained really strong. So that's why when it comes to promotion and when it comes to, work culture, it still that kind of attitude still remain, and that kind of prevent women, to progress further. And yeah, so that's something, it's a lot to do with history, it's a lot to do with cultural, gender bias and cultural norms as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Kim. Maria or Sarah, any other additional thoughts or comments?
I think from my personal point of view, it's true what you said, Helen. So I've been in this university for 10 years now, and definitely there's been a big change. So if you look at our leadership team, we actually have more women at the moment than actually men. So we can see a change in the trend. But from my perspective, I think one of the things that doesn't allow women to progress is the fact that we as women, many times we need to take some time off to raise our kids. So I personally also have 2 daughters who are 14 and 8. And if you can see, I had to have a big gap between them to be able to go back and, carry on what I do, because sometimes it was difficult to do this, having one child after the other. And again, I don't say this is the correct thing to do. I just say how that one of the reasons why I didn't have one child after the other was for one of these things, is because I knew it was going to be impossible for me to go back to and carry on with my research as well. What is interesting to remember here is that we need to speak to people, and we need to speak to people, find out, how can we achieve our goals, even if we are going on maternity leave. So I remember with this University of Hertfordshire, we had 10 days that I could still use throughout my 1 year of maternity leave, and I could use them towards my own benefit. So I actually use these days to attend research meetings, for example, and be able to still carry on doing my role as a bioscience representative, because that kept me going, and I kept it going, with my passion, but also that didn't make me feel that I was completely away from what was happening at the university. So, and having a support, network is very, very important.
Thanks, Maria. Interestingly, I'm part of a bigger piece of research that each year I do a big survey, and it's national research. And some of the outputs have just come out to say that gender bias is still very real within the UK. And interestingly, I thought this was very kind of odd, but the data shows this, that women who have a male child as their firstborn earn more when they go back to work than women who have a female child as their firstborn. Again, it seems that cultural perception that you should be there as a woman, be at home, bring up the girl, is still embedded. And so there's an very recent research that's just coming out about that. There aren't many explanations fully to why, but it's still that very much embedded cultural opinion and biases that are existing. So we really do have to push against that. And part of that is just beautifully how Kim's articulated, having a really strategic and understanding approach for where where she wants her career to go. Kim, shall we come back to you to talk about the early career research group?
Yes. So can I have, yes, so I like to, share my experience as, and members of the early career research group within the university. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this group. So the early career research group, or we call it ECRG, is designed to support early career researchers here at the university. So this is for women, men, everyone. However, this is particularly, for people in the first stages of their research career. The goal is to create an inclusive and responsive community where ECRS can connect, collaborate, and develop professionally. And to achieve this, we have meetings that take place every 2 months, for example, that provide a safe place for researchers to share experiences, to discuss ideas, to explore interdisciplinary collaboration. The group also acts as a representative voice to inform the senior research leadership about the needs and priority of early career researchers. And this is also a space for us to share career development opportunity, or information about training and funding, and ensure that ECRs have access to the support they need. Membership is open to anyone within 6 years of completing their doctorate or starting an academic role, as well for anyone who identifies them as an early career researcher. So in our meetings, for example, we can present our work. We can hear from internal or external experts on research topics or grant writing, and receive updates from key university teams or research leaders. There are also dedicated grant writing days and social events to strengthen networking opportunities, for example. The group is supported by kind of very modest annual budgets, and we cover event, workshop, or external speakers, and sometimes commitment for the chairs and the ECR representative, for example. It's going to have the next slide. So this is how you can, how we can apply for the mentorship scheme. So the eligibility that I said earlier is open to all ECR within the next 6 years of completing a doctoral or starting an academic role. And if one person want to join, send express interest, and then they will receive a list of potential mentors, and then select a suitable mentor and contact them directly. The duration is 1 year mentorships. It's the same like Maria's, the professional network for women. And also it's flexible meeting schedule, so we can meet with our mentor as many as as we would want. It depends on the arrangement between the mentee and mentors. But the principle is that it is mentee driven. It means that it focuses on the mentee's interests, goals, and priorities. The mentor would provide guidance and advice, but not instruction. It is goal-oriented and it structures approach. It also kind of provide confidential space. It is kind of trust-based relationship between the mentee and mentors as well. There should be a clear agreement on expectation between mentors and mentee. And this is kind of, supportive, professional, and constructive relationships. Can I have the next slide? Yes, my role, apart from being a member, I also support, the committee to find external mentors. The process of identifying mentors for this mentoring scheme is kind of grounded in both network theories and best practice in mentorships. So it highlights the importance of building professional relationships and using network to assess knowledge, guidance, and opportunities. So by connecting mentee with mentor in and outside our university, we kind of aim to expand our network, increase, our mentees' exposure to diverse perspective, and also to enhance kind of interdisciplinary collaborations. However, while recruiting mentor for the ECR mentoring scheme is really rewarding for me, I could also find a lot of challenges that often I encounter. The firstly is that there is a limited availability. You can see that experienced researcher may have heavy workloads, making it very difficult to commit to mentoring. The second thing is about the mismatch of expertise. Finding a mentors who research interests or career experience align with the mentee's goals can be challenging, and especially for a kind of a unique area. It's also network limitation as well. If you rely on personal or professional network, it can restrict diversity, potentially excluding suitable external mentors. So therefore, we kind of, looking at how do we recruit, mentors now to adapt to, the situation that we're facing at the moment. So you can consider, maybe some alternative approaches. For example, you can broad, recruitment network using professional association, conferences, and online research community to reach out to potential mentors outside your existing network. We also thinking about group mentoring. Can pair one mentor with several mentees, allowing, kind of for share learning and reducing the individual mentor's workload. We're also looking kind of a peer mentoring, for example. This is to encourage, more experienced researcher to mentor kind of newer, less experienced researcher. And also maybe set up kind of, panel or thematic mentorship, for example, to organize small panel mentor with kind of complementary expertise to support mentee on specific topics such as grant writing or interdisciplinary research. So by combining these approaches, you can expand the pool of available mentors, ensure that there is a diversity in research expertise, and also provide meaningful guidance to all mentees. Yes, so that's. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Kim.
So that's the end of my presentation now. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Kim. Really useful to hear about setting up that early career research networking and getting external mentors. We're quite short on time, but let's have a little quick Mentee meter for you. So if you've been mentored, what were the benefits for you? So again, this should be an open question if you want to type in. if you've been mentored, what were the benefits? We've heard the benefits that Kim's spoken about. So if you've been mentored, what were the benefits? Great, that professional growth. Oh, excellent. Being encouraged to see things differently. I think that's really useful, isn't it? Coming to things from a slightly different angle, or enabling to see things a little bit more clearly with a strategic focus. Anything else? What are the benefits of being mentored? Clear goals, objectives, even having an action plan, that's great. Mentors gain satisfaction and leadership experience from guiding others, while mentees receive career advice, skill development, and emotional support. I think that is important as well. Not only that career advice, but that emotional support is really useful, to be able to have someone you can confidentially discuss perhaps challenges you're facing, or to be able to reflect on how you can address a particular situation. Clearly defining that career path and having a place to share. Great. Okay, so we talked about the benefits of being mentored, and Kim has really shared those experiences very well. So let's now move to Sarah, who's going to share experiences and benefits of being a mentor.
Thanks, Helen, and thanks, everybody. I wanted to share a couple of different experiences, just briefly, about being a mentor, and I've done it in a couple of different ways. I'm going to start with the more formal of the options, and you heard Maria earlier mention a scheme called Aurora. Aurora is a mentoring and development program run by an organisation here in the UK called Advance HE. And they are a member-based organisation that services the higher education sector. And their goal is to improve higher education for everyone who's involved in it. But one of their specific goals as an organisation is to address systemic inequalities. So going back to what we were talking about in terms of thinking about always working on those persistent issues of gender inequality, it is at the heart of this organisation's work. One of the ways they do that is the Aurora programme, and it's a leadership development initiative for women. It's been running for over 10 years, longer in the UK, with 15,000 women who've participated in it from 200 different institutions. And that's nearly all of the universities that we see here in the UK and the Republic of Ireland. Once women are accepted onto the course, they're put into cohorts, and then they have development days and what are called action learning small groups, plus independent learning to think about leadership, development of leadership skills, and their own aspirations and career goals. And a really important part of that process is to be given a mentor from your own institution throughout the process. That's somebody usually who's more senior and more experienced than you, because one of the primary goals of a mentor in Aurora is to help, as a mentor, to help navigate the process for your mentee, to help fill in some of the gaps that they may not know about their organisation, and perhaps to introduce them to other people and to think about what it is that you can do to help them reach their goals as they move forward. You have to be able to have sufficient time for your mentee. It's really important when you commit to being a mentor that you can give that time throughout the process. And this is about a 7 to 8 month programme. So it involves lots of regular meetings with good, open conversation with listening. But really you're there to help the mentee achieve their goals. Next slide, please, Helen. So what do I do on a practical basis as a mentor in the Aurora programme? Well, it's really important that you can abide by the rules, if you like, of being a mentor. And on the Aurora program, we sign an agreement that we're going to work together in this way, that we really critically provide a confidential space so that we can have safe and objective conversations. Often people want to talk about issues within their own team or with their managers, or indeed with about how they feel about the organisation. And they need to know that they can do that in a way that isn't going to get outside of that conversation. Often we're asked for advice and guidance, and our mentees are encouraged to ask us about our own journey so that we can serve as a role model for them. But it's really critical that it's not about doing what I did, but to make sure that as a mentor, I encourage my mentee to reflect on where they are and where they want to be and help them pull together a good action plan. Sometimes it's really important to push your mentee to challenge the assumptions that they have, maybe some ideas that they have, and maybe ask them and talk to them about some of the patterns of behaviour that have either been successful or less successful for them throughout the process. But overall, the goal of the mentor is to inspire the mentee to move forward. It's really critical that you've got the right attitude going into this, that you've got a genuine interest in supporting people, but that you can be open-minded about what needs to happen. It's really also important that you have a positive attitude in mentoring, because you will have to make sure that your mentee is feeling that this is a productive experience. I've been really blessed to use this as an opportunity to develop my skills. I'm a really kind of quick problem solver, and being a mentor has taught me the value of not talking, being quiet, really listening actively to what somebody is telling me and asking questions to help them come to their own conclusions about what they need to do next in a much more coaching style of communication. But it is helpful to be able to draw on my knowledge, having been in the organisation a long time, and introduce them to other people who I think are useful for them to talk to, who can maybe fill in some gaps in their own skills and experience. Aurora is something I'm doing at the moment, and it's my first experience of being a formal mentor. I'm enjoying it very much indeed. But I have done informal mentoring before. And just to finish up, I want to share how I developed my confidence as a mentor. I have to say it was not intentional at all. That sometimes you don't set out to attach a label to yourself. Throughout my time working in higher education, I've always had an interest in experiential learning, and it's my area of expertise now. But it really was fostered through an external network role. I was part of an organisation, an educational charity that supports people who work in higher education, whose job it is to help students get internships as part of their study. It was really like I'd found my people, and spent a lot of time with this group of people sharing our experiences and making some really good professional connections and friendships that have served me well over the years. I'm very friendly and very open in nature, and I really enjoy being of use to people and helping people. So it was through conversations at in-person events, things like workshops and conferences, where we would stay in touch afterwards, and people would say, oh, hey, they'd drop me an email, say, oh, can you help me? I've got a really difficult issue at work, or I'm not really sure what to do. Have you got time to have a quick chat about that? And they turned into what I would describe as more informal mentoring conversations. And looking back now, I can see that I've really supported people to progress ideas and projects at work, particularly in difficult situations. I've spoken a lot to people about their own career development, bolstering their confidence and encouraging them to apply for opportunities when they come up, and really to support people as they take on leadership opportunities for the first time, saying, well, don't worry, I'm here. We can always speak. You know where I am. We can talk about it. It really made me interested in the concepts of followership alongside leadership. I sometimes describe myself as an accidental leader, I turned around and all of a sudden there were people following me without that being my intention. And I think the reason I wanted to say it here is because when you look at the literature on followership, it would often be credited to an American management consultant called Robert Kelly in the 1950s. He really wrote a lot about followership. But true to form, it wasn't his idea. Followership was something that was developed 50 years before that, predominantly by two women, Mary Parker Follett and Lillian Galbraith, who wrote very early on about the importance of thinking about things, thinking about leadership from the perspective of the people who you are asking to follow you, that one of the most important things about leadership is focusing on the human element of the people who are following you. So please don't think that because you've not necessarily been asked to be a formal mentor that you don't have a mentoring identity to people around you, and that there are lots of really great opportunities to develop the skills that will make you a good mentor in really informal networks that might be inside your institution, as we heard about from Maria and Kim, but might also be outside your institution. So I just wanted to share those reflections, Helen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Really positive to hear that. So again, for those of you who've been a mentor, what benefits did you gain? Sarah spoke about some of the things she's learned, particularly that active listening and the skills that she's developed, but also how to ask those coaching questions. But what benefits did you gain if you've been a mentor? So if people want to pop any thoughts in Mentimeter. Again, for me, that's been about understanding other people's perspectives and experiences. It's built my knowledge and understanding of different roles and responsibilities as I've mentored others. I think it's also been about being compassionate and understanding. Oh, the feelings of being helpful and useful. Absolutely. That's so rewarding, isn't it? Anything else from being a mentor? All right, let's move on. People might still be musing on that as we go through. So the last thing I really want to mention is an opportunity for you. So we've got within our university a group of people who are interested to have conversations with colleagues in Vietnam, and an opportunity to have a 1 or 2 online conversations, excuse me, about career pathways and strategic directions. And Maria kindly let us speak to the network of Women Plus professors, and many of the people who volunteered to speak to you are from that group. So there are quite a lot of people there from our network, but also we've got quite a few people from science, technology, engineering and mathematics backgrounds as well, because we know there was an interest from STEM areas. So if you are interested in having an online conversation with a colleague from the University of Hertfordshire about your career pathways and your career journeys, then I'm going to post this link into the chat. Oh, I'm going to do it separately, or I'm going to see if Sarah can do it. And to pop that into the chat so you can add your information to our sheet, your name, your email address, your area of interest, and then we will link you with one of our colleagues who volunteered at the University of Hertfordshire. It will enable you then to have probably first of all, a 1-hour conversation, and then possibly a second conversation to talk about your career pathways and career journeys. So we hope that's of interest and use to colleagues on the call. Again, I'll share the link in a moment, but you're just putting your name, your email address and your discipline into the editable spreadsheet. And then over the next month or so, we'll pair you up and we'll be in contact and give you the email address of a colleague in the UK. And then you can arrange your own time to meet. I would also just point you as well to the mentoring section of our massive open online course, the MOOC. There is a whole section on mentoring and coaching and the slight nuance or difference between mentoring and coaching. It's in section 6. So if you haven't done so already, please do have a look at the MOOC. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen a moment and end the presentation, and then I'm just going to look for this link that I can pop into the chat for you. So while I do that, Sarah, do you just want to say something about the next session that's coming up?
Yes, Helen, it's in the chat already. I've found the link from the slides, so we're all sorted. So our next session in December is going to be about a leadership in action session. So we want to try a couple of different things in that session and really get some activities going in small groups during the session. So we would like to get you to practice some of the things that will help you develop your leadership skills. So thinking about how you're going to talk about your career goals, your career aspirations, imagining that you'll be talking to people who can offer you leadership development opportunities. So we're really looking forward to that session. Helen and I will be joining you for that session in December. So hopefully that gives you something to think about, and there'll be people on the call who can join us for the next session.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Huge thanks to Maria, to Lisa, and to Kim. It's been wonderful to have your contributions. Many thanks, Sarah, for sharing your mentoring experience, and we look forward to seeing colleagues in December. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I love to hear in more topic in next coming times.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
All right. Thanks all. Thanks ever so much.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Kim, Helen, and Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Angie. Take care. We'll see you soon.